Welcome to the Spearo Hangout, where we talk all things spearfishing, freediving and foraging. We're three guys from Devon in the UK who are excited to share some of the learnings from our spearfishing journey with you over the coming episodes. We bring in some special guests along the way to help spread some in-depth Spearo knowledge from some of the most experienced people in the scene. Evening.
Hey, how's it going, lads?
Hello.
You okay?
What's
I'm
this
good.
then? What's this thing we're doing?
Been a few weeks, hasn't it?
We are literally the shittest podcasters ever.
I think we're all to blame, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maybe you more than anyone, but yeah.
Piss off.
Lol. No, it's been too long. We've been too busy. But no, we've I kicked myself up the arse and was like, right, you need to get some people on. So we've got a couple of people, a double whammy.
Well, to be fair, we were going to do it like last week, but I think it was you, Rich, that pulled it out because I don't know.
Yeah, no,
You're going shopping or something.
No.
Was that last week when I was just sat here in front of the computer with my microphone all ready to go, and you two just message and go, "Oh yeah, no, we were meant to be getting Damon on. Damon's now coming around for a beer. Rich forgot that he's coming."
That was after Rich decided he wasn't coming. To be fair,
right.
we were ready.
I think I'm back. My Wi-Fi is really playing up today, everyone. So I apologize for that. Good old super fast broadband. Yeah. So yeah, I totally forgot, lads. Last week, sorry about that. My bad.
Oh, the one that is not putting any effort in, I'm just sat there, holding my dick in my hand and just waiting for you to I'm like a little cuck, like honestly. Oh, okay, no worries. See you next week. Let me know. Jesus Christ, honestly.
We're making a very concerned effort this week. All right, we're on it.
We are. We've got two people on. Two for the price.
We could have gone spearfishing tonight, but we did this instead.
It does look very nice out there.
So I don't think anyone could give us any shit. Like,
we had to ground Ben.
Yeah, we literally had to tie him down to his desk to be able to
ground it.
Yeah.
So what have you guys been up to? The LIC comp was recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
It's been a long time. We haven't even talked about like the main competitions, have we? It's been like that long.
It's been that long that we've done the nationals. They've been and gone.
Christ, yeah.
I beat both of you. Hooray!
With one little dogfish.
Listen.
That doesn't even count.
What do you mean? It doesn't. According to the BSA, it counts.
Well, I don't know.
I was
like the average of the last 2 years, and
yeah, you want to play it like that?
Okay. So, how did you get on in the comps in the nationals? You two?
I blanked. I had such a terrible time. Last competition, I lost my gun like 10 minutes in. Managed to find it 3 hours later in 8 meters of water, which is
lucky cunt. Honestly,
yeah.
My God.
yeah, I am.
Rich.
As Ben just said, I caught dogfish.
When was that?
Ringstead.
The first competition.
Yeah. I didn't do the second comp, and I did the Cornwall comp, and that was a nightmare. That was.
Yeah,
I thought, the chop's like pretty decent, right? So
it was rough.
Yeah, it was rough as nails, wasn't it? So I thought, I head out deep and just sort of went straight into the bay, deep as I could find it, and yeah, there was no fish. I was like, what the hell's going on? Turns out a lot of them were like super close in the wash. So
yeah, we found a few of them, but it was really hard, especially without the proper gun.
And then I in the end, because I started throwing up because it was that much chop, that I was like, right, I'm swimming around this headland, and to be fair, that wasn't a good idea because I had to swim back into the waves, coming back around the headland. And all in all, I pretty much just did like 3.5 hours of swimming. So yeah, it was great.
Ben wasn't happy with you though, was he?
I can't remember.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with you.
Oh, because I was diving deeper. Yeah,
I don't know if
we're not talking about that yet.
we're not
We're
talking
not?
about it yet. No,
No,
okay,
not
all
yet.
right, that's for another episode.
Okay.
Another episode.
We're not talking
But
about that yet.
Ben wasn't happy. He was very. What is it? I'm not
Protective
angry.
of my friend.
I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
Does sound like
Just
me.
so there's some context, it's nothing that I did that was exceedingly wrong or illegal or
It's
bad
extremely wrong. You were such a naughty boy.
But yeah, we're not talking about that yet.
Anyway,
So
how did you get on, Ant? You haven't talked about your performance.
I wasn't there. I didn't compete this year. I mean, if you look at the BSA, the score sheet, I didn't compete. I'm not
Yeah.
even on there.
Same.
I was there. I was just keeping up the numbers, making sure it was okay. Oh, fucking shit.
you're both taking the piss out of me for my dogfish. Ant would have shot that thing 10 times over.
I didn't actually. At Cornwall, I could have taken the shot on 4 or 5 bass and at least 3 mullet. I just, like I think I said last year when we do, like at the very beginning of the pod, I wasn't feeling the comp. It was like it was just stressful for me because I'm a competitive person. And so unless it was like to smack a really decently sized fish, I was actually just enjoying myself. The swell at Cornwall was mental. So I went out, went right. And yeah, it was actually just, I was having more fun watching my float be underwater because I've now figured out that my Beauchat Pluma is far too small for me. So I've ordered the same thing that Ben and Rich. Have you got one? No, you got the new yellow one.
No, it's Damon's score.
Yeah, Damon. Yeah. So ordered a new one from Nautica.
Nautica, nice. They look decent as well, to be fair, for the money.
Yeah, I got a green one. You love yours, don't you now, Ben?
Yeah, I wouldn't be without it. Actually, I took the kids out last night, not spearfishing, but diving with snorkel masks on. My kids are 4 and 6, and I got both of them on there, like in the dry. It's like a mini boat, basically. So they just like stuck their heads over the side, taking it in turns with the mask. And it's magic. Yeah, so good. And imagine trying to do that with a Pluma or something smaller. You just wouldn't be able to.
No. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, and like you can fit everything on it, and it's really comfortable to sit on. I mean, it's the same with all of those kind of like bigger boats, I would imagine. But that one was just particularly cheap, and does the job really well. I mean,
for 150 quid imported in the UK, you can't argue with that.
No, and look, I wish I had. I'd like to try some of like the more expensive ones. Like there's the flat boards. I think Sam's got some of them, hasn't he? At underwater foraging. There's like the bigger, the big red ones, the Epsilon. Is it Patrol?
The one, Rich, you used to have one.
Yeah,
Epsilon Patrol.
Yeah, I mean, so they're all good, but yeah, I mean, this one's cheap and it does the job. And if I had
but it's based off of the dive hunter that Dan Mann and Davo's got, that is like known in the spearfishing world as being the best.
Yeah, and Dan was saying that the innards inside are exactly the same size as well. So he'd replaced some of his like old dive hunter tubes with the ones from this one, which is cool.
Right.
So yeah,
nice.
it's spot on. Does a job. So thanks, Dan Mann, for that recommendation.
Nice. And so on your float, you've got like I only found it out the other day because you were trying to take home a very illegal crab, weren't you?
Illegal crab?
Yeah, the illegal crab, the illegal spider crab.
Oh yeah, it sneaked into there, which I still don't really understand. I think you put it in there. There was
I did put it
like a tiny little crab. It was like
it's like 3 inches long. It was the smallest spider crab. I put it in there. Must have been about half an hour after I got in.
You just left it in there.
I left it in there thinking, I was like, we'll be getting out soon because we're not going to really be in here that long.
Yeah.
And then he'll get home and see this tiny little spider crab and be like, the fuck? But then we caught the lobsters, and I was like, I actually feel sorry for this little spider crab, so we put him back. Lol. But it's got like loads of little compartments, loads of places to put stuff. So
Yeah,
I've
so
ordered a
on
green
it
one.
I have both guns. I have the like lobster hook, torches, like the compass, water bottles,
Hmm.
like yeah, everything that
Is
I
it
could possibly
heavy
want.
to
It is
carry?
quite heavy, but I've got one of the like get the like the toolkits with the strap. So I took the strap off the toolkit
Like
thing.
Stanley
Yeah,
things.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the one
Yeah.
actually is.
Strap on.
Um, yeah, just like with the clips at both ends, strapped it to the two like hooks that it's got, and it's just it's easy as. In fact, it's far easier than what I used to do with the Pluma. It's
Nice.
great. Yeah, really good. And like I can put my fins in the top as well, so I'm literally like hands free, which is pretty cool.
Nice. I'm looking forward to mine. Mine turns up tomorrow.
Oh,
I
exciting.
ordered the green one because I was just trying to be it's safety conscious, I suppose.
Yeah, you don't look like me.
No, God no, very unsafe. Like, what's that small person doing on that large boat? That's fine. Well, what
And then we had
else?
the LIC pairs, don't we? And
Yeah.
Ben, how did you do, mate?
Came second actually, and that
What?
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Fuck, well done.
I
I didn't
say
even know that.
it was a pairs competition, of course. So it's me and Damon,
You and the plumber.
me and the plumber, and yeah, I wasn't really expecting to do that well, but I'd had a fish within 10 minutes of getting in the water, like a decent-ish bass, like 55 centimeters type thing.
Nice.
I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't expecting to do very well, so we gutted it and bled it, and probably weighed about half as much as it did
Oops.
when it was full. But, I mean, that's how I like to eat my fish. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. So yeah, I got a bass within 10 minutes, a mullet within I don't know, yeah, certainly within like half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we spent the rest of the time looking for flatfish, and it wasn't until I don't know, it was on the way in like 20 minutes before we had to leave to get to the final location, the camp that I found what was I mean it was pretty small as far as flounders go. I mean, it was perfectly fine. It weighed, um, but yeah, there was a lot of flatfish hunting that afternoon
Mm.
in really like not really challenging conditions, but it was like the weather was on. It was blowing a hoolie. The rain was driving in. There was this moment where the fog kind of descended on the bay. And in the bay, there's like these huge ships that were, I don't know, like a few hundred meters away, and they just disappeared in this fog. And we're like, oh shit, like if they start moving, we're screwed.
Oh, no.
Um, so yeah, we kind of abandoned one of our spots that we were hoping to dive because yeah, it just got a bit too dangerous out there. And we had like the compasses on the floats and all that kind of stuff and torches and whatever, but yeah, like it was getting a bit dangerous.
Did you not? Did you shore dive?
Yeah,
Oh, right. Okay.
yeah. Well, it's quite a long way to the final location, the camp at the end, and it's just hassle with a boat sometimes, isn't it? So we just thought, well, we can jump in and out of the van, dive two or three spots. In the end, we only dive two, um, and yeah, so it's pretty successful. Also saw some bream for the first time, which was pretty cool. Um, didn't catch any, but yes, it's the first time I've actually had a shot at a bream. Um,
Nice.
so need to go back to that spot.
Did you also see? I remember something about a possible fat bass that may also identify as a bluefin
Oh,
or an
so that
albacore.
that was more recently.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, that was well, obviously I won't say the spot, but
No.
I was with Damon again, and I think I had a mullet on the line at the time. I'd shot a mullet and was hauling it in, or just put it on the float or something. Although the gun was loaded, I can't remember what the situation was. Yeah, remember I just finished loading it, and then I looked down and I was like, "Oh my God, there's this huge fish," and it must have been like about a meter long, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit
Shit.
shorter because you're not quite sure, what's going on. And it was like this. I don't know. My first thought was, "That's a big mullet." Then I was like, "Is
It's
it a
not silver.
bass?" And then I was like, it's got to be a mullet or a bass. So actually, I loaded the gun quickly and like took a shot like you would, thinking it was a big bass, and then it just kind of it shot off at such a speed. It was just like incredible. And I'm still not sure whether it was a huge mullet, a huge bass, or maybe like some kind of like albacore or some kind of tunery type thing. And I keep replaying it over in my head. Like, what if I'd actually shot this thing? Yeah, and I didn't even realize how big it was until I'd taken the shot. I just thought it was, well, it would have been the biggest fish I've ever, almost apart from the Australian stuff that I'd shot. And then when it shot off, I was like, oh, was that a tuna that I just took a shot at? Yeah, I mean, like, let's say it was a tuna. I don't know what would have happened. I mean, the gun's attached to the float, and I don't think I've done a pretty good job on crimping. So, yeah, who knows? I might have been coming home with a big albacore or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
What did you do in the LIC, Rich?
I went out with Nick Whitehead off his boat, and yeah, we did all right. I had a bass. Nick had a bass, a bream, and a lobster. I think we came like 16th in the boat category or something like that, off the top of my head. But yeah, you smashed it, Ben. Second in the shore category is awesome, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say they were pretty generous with the shore category because there's less people doing it. So we definitely had like a handicap in some way, but we also had an advantage when it came to the prize giving. But
my best part of the LIC was seeing how shocked Damon was that he actually won prizes for shooting nothing and Ben shooting all the fish.
I wasn't going to mention that.
The plumber
I
didn't
certainly
shoot
was.
Oh, Damon.
Oh, that's mean.
Hey, whenever there's an opportunity to take the piss out of Damon, I am taking it. He wouldn't expect anything less, I don't think.
No, he probably wouldn't. Yeah, I think you're right.
And yeah, and the next highlight of the LIC for me, I don't know if you saw the story, was Damon and Ben putting their tent up. It was the funniest thing.
That was funny.
Oh, did you guys camp?
Yeah, mate, I'm not a camper. I mean, I could have told you that before, but
oh, I can testify to that.
Oh dear.
I could have fucking told you that. Jesus Christ. Did you camp with Damon?
Yeah, watching him and Damon put a tent up. It's like watching an old married couple. Like they've been together for about 30 years and they just
broke that
the whole time. And it's just like, oh, I'm not even saying a word. I'm just creasing, it's hilarious. But yeah, that was funny.
I'd have thought Damon would have been all right. Oh, no, he's a plumber. No, I'll take that back.
The LIC was a great event, to be fair. It was the first one that I've been to. And yeah, it was really, really good. Like, just such good food, good laughs, and yeah, it was great,
Nice.
great event.
Yeah, really well organised. And the prizes were amazing. Like,
yeah.
What were the prizes?
Well, I presume it's okay to say, but for second place, we had like t-shirts each, we had a mask and snorkel each, had a voucher each for Spearfishing UK. Like,
yeah, you guys did really
pretty impressive.
Nice.
I almost felt like we should have worked a little bit harder for it. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
Well, you won't be at the Dorset Open to be able to win any prizes.
I'm really gutted because the prizes and stuff look amazing, and obviously the camping in a cool place. I mean, actually, I'm not that gutted about missing the camping, but
well, yeah, but you don't have to camp. There's Airbnbs close by. You bloody posh bastard.
Yeah. No, I'd love to come, mate, but we're flying back from Austria that day, so no chance.
Well, tough luck, mate.
I'll be there.
There you go. Yeah, man.
I think I'm bringing Daddy with me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we're gonna do. So Dorset Open, that's similar to LIC setup in that it's kind of dive anywhere in Dorset.
So yeah, it's on the 17th of August. You have to be a member of the Dorset Club to partake.
You also have to be a member of the BSA, don't you, Rich?
BSA and Dorset Club. Long story.
Yeah, Rich is messaging me in the background going, this person's just joined the Dorset Club. This person's just joined the Dorset Club. This person, and then Nick Hansen has also joined the Dorset Club. Nick, you are not a BSA member. You cannot join the Dorset Club, you little shut. So it was like,
well, I think he has now, but it's,
he has, it's fine.
Yeah,
Let me Nick.
But yeah, it's so basically you got to be a Dorset member to partake. It's just a perk of being in the club, shall we say? And yeah, dive anywhere in Dorset. Be back at the weigh-in for 4:30, and it's also very, I would say, sustainable. I hate saying that word, but whatever. I don't know any other way of putting it. Sustainable comp, because you can gut your fish, you can bleed your fish. We want you to look after your fish because we're going to eat it at the competition, at the weigh-in.
So it's not a weighed comp.
No, it's all based on points, and then if in the event of a tie, it's then based on length.
Nice.
And yeah, so
it's good.
yeah, we obviously have taken certain species out, but there's quite a lot of species still in there, and for no other reason really than we want to eat everything on the night. So whatever's left over, don't really want to make it too much of a hassle for everyone to look after it. So yeah, so that's the reason why. But yeah,
nice.
it's I've managed to obtain around 1,200 quid's worth of prizes from various shops and sponsors. Yeah, so that's really cool. And because ordinarily we do, the whole trophies and this and that and everything else, but I thought actually no, this year we're going to do some cool prizes. So I had a little bit of inspiration from the LIC pairs. And there's 9 different categories as well. So it's not just the top tier elite win and that's the end of it. It's pretty much anyone's in with a chance of winning something. So that's pretty cool. And then it's going to be a camping session after. We'll have a few drinks, have a camp over, and yeah, it's going to be good.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Nice. And you're our honorary member.
Fuck off, honestly. So the story with this is Rich messaged me. When was it? Probably last week. It's like, hi, Anne. We, the Dorset Club, is obviously written by someone else, not Rich, because it was really nice.
It was written by me.
It's like, we'd really like to offer you a place in the Dorset Open as our honorary participant because of the fact that you're BSA chairman. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Okay, yeah, of course. I mean, I was going to force my way into it anyway. But yeah, no, it was really good. What was it yesterday? Post into the BSA committee. Hi, guys. We would like to invite all of you as honorary members because of how much hard work you put in. I'm like, oh, great.
Can I just say that it wasn't actually my idea? Like,
Ben doesn't do anything.
Listen, I'm all for it, but that actually wasn't my idea. That was just because the committee, the Dorset committee, was like, oh, that'd be a really nice gesture, and I was like, okay, it is a great gesture, but I don't think they had already realised that I'd invited you.
It's fine because the X Club has done exactly the same. It was like I had Joel reached out to me. I think it was Joel and Max, and were like, yeah, you're welcome along. We'd love you to come along. I wanted to, as the chairman, I wanted to be a part of at least one event for each of the clubs. Cornwall just so happened it was the competition that I went to. I've been to South West Wales, doing the Dorset Open, obviously did the Dorset competition, and so like, right, the X aren't holding a national. I'll go to their open event, and yeah, that'd be great. So I get the message from Joel, message from Max. Oh, we'd love to have you along. Then, oh God, why have I forgotten his name? I'm gonna have to remove this. Ross. Sorry, I just had a mind blank. I'm getting old. Yeah, Ross puts in the committee today. Hi, guys. I'd like to invite all of the committee along to the ESC Open. I'm just like, oh, I'm not really that important.
No, you're not as special as you thought, mate. Sorry.
I know. I still think I'm special, and that's all that matters. So, yeah. Anyway, let's stop talking shit and get these two on because they've been waiting in the wings. They haven't. We're recording this after. But let's get the Gordon and Zak on.
Let's do it.
Hey, welcome to Spiro Hangout, Zak and Gordon. How you doing, guys? All right?
All good.
Hello.
All good, yes.
Hey, guys. Good to see you.
welcome. We got a two for one, Gordon and Zach. So, in no particular order or reverse alphabetical, Zach, introduce yourself.
Hello there. Good evening. Thanks for having us on. I'm Zach. I am 27 years young. Been spearfishing. I think this is my 5th year now. Yeah, 5th year. Living in Sussex, West Sussex, and trying to make the most out of the viz we get down here. Yeah.
Nice. Sussex. Where?
Yes.
What's that? Brighton?
Probably about 10 miles west of Brighton. I'm in a place called Littlehampton or Shittlehampton, aka.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. I'm just trying to think of, for those that don't know, what other places in Sussex? What are like the bigger places in Sussex? And because the regional club in the BSA is Sussex and
Is it South Sea?
South Sea and
It's in South
Sussex.
Sea,
Yes.
yeah.
It's not like on the
So
fucking chair.
I guess I mean my diving parameters are probably Brighton through to Bognor. I don't tend to wander as far as Selsey that often, although I know it does have some good fish. I've never really been over that way. I think Gordy might have a few years ago, but that's kind of my range is Brighton to Bognor.
Nice. And what do you do in the day job?
I'm an accountant, and not the OnlyFans type either. I'm actually a boring old accountant, you know. So
You
yeah,
do
unfortunately.
still sell feet pics though?
Of course, yeah.
Nice.
No,
yeah.
fin pics.
Fin pics. Nice. Moving on to Gordon. Introduce yourself.
Hello, guys. So I'm Gordon. I'm 36. I'm based in London, and I've been spearfishing for about the same time as Zach, about 5 years.
Nice. And what do you do day job?
So I do strategy consulting for pharmaceuticals.
Ooh, interesting. So you invented COVID.
I wish. I'd be a
No,
lot
sorry.
richer.
You did the wow advertising plan for COVID, the marketing campaign for COVID.
It would have been nice.
And now we're going to get banned on Spotify.
No, never mind. And Gordon, your other sort of like part-time volunteer day job is you are the lobby. What's your job title in the BSA?
Yeah, lobby rep for the BSA and for Treasury as well, just for fun. But
Oh yeah, you took that on this year. Yeah, nice. How are you finding that?
it's all right. It's going well, I think. Slow.
You have to deal with the chairman, though. He's a bit of a dick.
Oh yeah, he's a massive dick.
Just massive dick.
And worse than the chairman, all the people that are pissed off at the chairman.
It's a long list. It's a long list. So as I mean, we've been dropping the ball this summer. We've not done as many podcasts as we'd like to do. So this one we're going to try and actually get some decent content out of you two. So hence the reason we've got 2 for 1 and 75 million questions. I think Rich has literally fallen asleep already. So you've got the show notes. We'll just start getting into questions. So it's a free flowing chat.
I'm having Wi-Fi problems in a minute, mate. So bear with.
Always having problems. Just back. How do you guys get into spearfishing?
I think I've kind of fished since I was around 4, maybe 5 years old. Had boats since I kind of could have boats and always loved the water. And I think about 5 years ago, it was just before COVID, maybe 2019, I watched a video of a guy on Facebook, I think, and he shot a place and then pulled out his knife on the same dive and stabbed another place, and that just inspired me straight away. I was like, wow, like that looks incredible to be down there. And yeah, from then on, I was kind of on the hunt for a second-hand wetsuit and what fins do I need, you know, this and that, how much weight do I need? And I just started diving local areas, the places I knew for fishing, I guess, from the shore fishing, and it took off from there.
Nice, Christ. So you're a water baby, but you've been spearfishing for 15 years, 20 years.
No, diving for 5 years. Fishing,
okay.
you know, beach fishing, boat fishing for about 20 years. But yeah,
nice.
Always loved the water. Always been around the water. Lived near the water.
Have you managed to replicate the flatty? The flatty Rambo.
And I've thought about. I've dove down with that sole purpose in Brighton before.
Yeah.
And Yeah, not managed to replicate it yet. That is on the bucket list for sure. It's just something cool about watching it. I thought, wow, that's magic.
Nice, nice. And Gordon?
So basically, I just enjoyed snorkeling and things like that. And one of my mates mentioned that he'd done spearfishing. So one summer, I just said, I want to go out. Let's, I'll get some kit together. Let's go spearfishing. Just on a whim, really. And it was really fun. So
Nice. And so being in London, I mean, I take it you don't spearfish the Thames.
no.
So, other than for STIs and all of those diseases that are currently in the Thames. Where's local for you? I mean, obviously-
Sussex.
Right, okay.
Exactly. Straight down south to the coast. Normally, Brighton to Bognor, where Zak hunts.
Cool.
What
Nice.
side of the river are you on again, Gordy? Are you on the north side or the south side of the river?
I'm on the north side, kind of. So I have to go through the tunnel or over the bridge.
Yeah.
I'm like on the east.
So you're properly London, as in like within the M25.
Oh yeah. This
Right.
in
Nice.
the background you can see Canary Wharf. So that's like very, very London.
Fancy.
Annoyingly London. It takes a long time
to get anywhere.
especially if I want to go west. It's a problem.
Nice. So how far is the likes of Bognor for you?
So it depends on the traffic. If there's no traffic, probably about 2 hours. I think on average it's about 2 hours 20. Brighton, no traffic, an hour 30. Normally it's about an hour 45.
Cool. That's some investment just to go spearfishing.
Yes.
Nice. So go on, man. Sorry.
I thought one of us might want to put in a question at some point, right?
Oh, here we go. I mean, you guys are free to talk. I mean, Rich has literally fallen asleep.
He's gone.
he's literally disconnected.
It just felt there was no point, obviously. I was just going to ask, like, do you guys normally shore dive or do you boat dive? Do you usually dive together?
Kind of a bit of both in terms of the boat shore diving. I'd say 70% boat diving.
Cool.
We tend to buddy up boat diving, and we sometimes kind of go our separate ways shore diving. Mostly boat diving, to be fair.
Yeah, nice one. Who has the boat then?
Both of us have got kind of horses for courses, different types of boats.
Yeah.
I've got a 4-meter rib, and Gordon. What's yours, Gordy? What's the brand?
I have like an electric cabboat.
Yes, that's a cabboat. K-boat.
As in electric powered?
So it's a Boat World Kayak 365. So it's quite narrow, quite small. It fits into literally a single seat in your car. Then I've got a e-propulsion Spirit 1 Plus, which is like a 3 horsepower little engine.
That's awesome.
So you're only talking displacement speeds, right? But if you're going, maybe 3 miles out, 3 miles back, no problem. And you can launch at any beach, anywhere. We've had it out in like 2.5 meter swell, and it's just been really nice.
You have, Gordon, not me. You have. That weather.
Well, we went out. Remember, we went to the Manacles, but then we had to turn around because you're feeling a little bit peaky.
Oh,
that was pretty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Getting a little bit seasick, there, Zak.
I was. Yeah. Gordon was like, "It'll be fine." Zak, I was like, "Yeah, the weather's up, Gordon," and we made this special trip to Cornwall. Was it April? I think it was back in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of had a plan, and we set out to go and dive the Manacles, and the swell was up, and I started feeling a little bit green around the edges. Was that the day we had maybe a shandy or two in that local pub, didn't we, the night before?
Yeah.
Did you catch any fish that day?
No.
No, we didn't. You got some spider crabs.
We got some nice spider crabs.
Yeah.
2 kilo jobbies, but
oh wow.
Yeah.
Lovely. Nice stuff.
Nice. So, talking about manacles and things like that, biggest fish you guys have ever caught? I'm just going through the list of questions we've got.
For me, definitely a conger.
How big?
I'm not sure because I very rarely measure or weigh them, but
in comparison to your penis?
I smaller, like
Yeah.
6 foot maybe or something.
It's going to tie us into a story that we've heard that Zach will tell us in a minute. A sea snake or something like that?
Was that on the bottom of the notes about there was like a link for social media about Grinder, was it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Like,
who
who's
put that.
fucking the Grinder? I mean, I'll put it in the below, but yeah.
Biggest fish for you, Zach?
I think it was maybe my first year diving out on I'll say out on Bognor, and it was a form-back rate of about £11, and that's still probably my biggest shot fish, which is
Huge.
yeah.
Did that suck straight to the floor when you shot it? It was
Yeah,
like pulling
it
up
was a
an
bit of a
anchor.
scrap. It was.
Oh, nice. And so, what are the most common challenges you guys face while spearfishing?
Visibility.
I'll let you go first, Gordy.
Fears.
I think it's the same for both of us. Like in Sussex, the sediment is very, very light. It gets stirred up really easily. It takes a long time to settle. Most of the time, we're diving in less than 1.5 meters viz. Yeah, it's a big challenge.
Nice.
Do you
Right.
do any of the spearfishing by sound? Like we've heard a few people talk about where you like aim the gun where you can hear the fish. Because we have really bad viz in East Devon, and one of the podcast guests we had on a little while ago was talking about listening for the fish and kind of like pointing at them, and I was trying to do it last night because the viz was about the same, like a meter and a half, and there's definitely something in it, although I still don't quite get exactly where the fish are coming from. Is that something that you guys kind of practice, or?
Never heard of it or tried it. More often, it's just looking. You wait for them to come really close. Don't have a chance to move in time. So you're trying to predict speed and direction to try and shoot them, or you're looking up and trying to see silhouettes if it's not pitch black. So, yeah.
Short guns.
Yeah.
What's the usual sort of fish type that you get down there? Is it similar to Devon and Cornwall or the UK waters? Are you looking at bass, pollock?
Not many pollock. Bass, there's bass here, mullet. There's bream. I mean, I think bream's probably better here than in Cornwall. There's flatfish around, place, sole, flounder. What am I missing?
That's most of them, Gordon.
That's most of them.
The odd top knot.
Oh yeah, the odd top knot.
Top knot.
I haven't seen many lobsters, but they are here. Brown crabs. There's some nice brown crabs this way. But yeah, we don't see many pollock. Maybe it's the depth we dive. I think they're offshore on them 30, 40 meter wrecks. They are definitely about, but they're just not in I guess our local stomping grounds. I'd love to see some more pollock in Sussex. I'd love to, but
what depths are you guys diving?
On average, probably around 10 meters. 15's okay, but it's 10 to 15 meters in Sussex mainly.
Yeah, at best.
At best, yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean, most of it's very shallow.
A lot of the spots we dive are probably between 6 and 10 meters, and then the odd one will get deeper.
I was going to say, how far out do you have to go to get to those spots? Obviously, we're not asking for specific spots, but I know that we had the Bognor Regis BSA competition, and like even though the area was sort of 2 miles wide, you had to go out stupidly far to even get past like 4 meters.
Yeah, it's like that in a lot of Sussex. It's very shallow. I mean, we could be on a record, whatever, 2.5, 3 miles out. I mean, take Bognor for instance. I think on the outer reef, the outer reef bit,
on the spit.
up the spit, if you like, it's probably, what is it, 2 miles out, and it's 11, 12 meters. It's not.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's 2 miles offshore.
Wow.
I think the further east you head, it does get deeper, but this way, West Sussex, it's pretty shallow.
I mean, but Brighton Pier at the end, Spring High, that'll do 12 meters.
Yeah,
But everything else is not really swimmable unless you are a little bit insane.
And is that because current or just because of the distance you've got to go?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got to swim,
cover,
2 miles out to get to 10 meters depth and then 2 miles back,
Yeah.
that's 4 miles before you've worried about current or the swimming you do during spearfishing. So
That's a quick morning dive for Daniel Mann after I found out a local spot. Jesus Christ, I'll never forgive him for that. And so, what kind of gear do you guys use when you're I mean, obviously, on those you're taking out one of your boats. What kind of gear have you? What setups do you guys take?
Gordy, you want
Um,
to the rig?
yeah, I mean, set up in which way? Because we have probably every possible available setup.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Um,
So, float wise, torpedoes.
yeah, I mean, I've got like eggs. I got round ones for like boat diving, torpedoes. If I'm doing a short swim out, like big boat floats. If it's a long swim out. So yeah, I mean, anything, everything.
Nice.
Guns have got wheels for like if you're diving around Brighton Pier where there's a lot of structure, or you're diving holes in Bognor, you don't really want a float line behind you all the time. But then some other places you might want it. So we have all of the options, and then we pick what to use based on where we are.
Nice. And so when you're saying just then about pier, would you, if you were shore diving, would you anchor your float off the pier and then sort of swim in?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And then you got the reel line so that in case the fish you shoot decides to fuck off through a hole or something, you can just drop your gun and go and get it.
Yeah.
Nice. Fancy. So how do you guys choose your spearfishing locations then? Is it just so over the years, how have you found them?
I mean, Zak mentioned earlier that he used to fish, so he knows some locations. We use navionics. We endlessly trawl through old Deeper Blue forums and through old posts on Facebook. And then navionics, you can just see things on navionics and check them out.
Nice.
Well, they're random though. You mentioned it the other day, Gordy, didn't you? There's a lot of ground that's not mapped on navionics as anything, but when you randomly dip in along Sussex, you'll see these big features, caves, rocks, structures, and on Navi it's flat sand. So it's worth mentioning that, yeah, sometimes the best thing to do is just jump in and have a little look, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice. And is that so where you found those places, is that when you look at navionics, is it just all flat, or is it really? So
completely flat, not a nipple on it.
And do you think that that's where like sediment's been moved off since it was last scanned, or is it just like, is navionics scamming us?
I think so. If I understand correctly, navionics gets its sonar data from boats with sonar going over those areas which share their data. Right. So if the boats aren't going to that area with their sonar on and sharing that data, they're not going to have it.
Yeah, and it can sometimes do the opposite as well. I've seen it where there's been what looks like a really big pinnacle, and you'd shore dive out there for a mile, and you're like, it should be here, and it's just like sand. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
So you think they sort of just like, if they haven't got the data, they just infill it with what they expect the bottom to be depth wise?
No, I think it's just that some sonars aren't that accurate. If you put the boat in gear like you do and set off at high rate, if not, that causes fluctuations in the charts. So yeah, I expect it's all a bit of that, right?
Yeah.
So what's the most unusual stuff you catch down there?
Oh, good question. I've never seen anything out of the ordinary. I've never seen a John Dory. I've seen red mullet, I guess. I guess that's kind of different. I've been diving and seen smoothhound shoot past me, on Bognor and crack viz. I've pulled myself over a giant stingray on Bognor. That was my first year diving.
It's cool.
Creeping along the bottom, probably a slightly overweighted back then. And I was just pulling myself along in this eruption of sediment and sand. And I pulled myself over the top of a stingray that I hadn't seen. And that was probably the weirdest fish I've kind of locked eyes with, or locked eyes on.
Nice. You guys said that you spearfish together, but I take it you go to those areas alone? You dive alone every now and then?
Being good, I think we were diving with maybe different people or on our own for around a year. I don't actually remember, Gordy. How did we first dive? Like, do you remember? Because you'll be reminding me, but I think we've probably been diving mostly together for about 4 years.
Yeah, I think Zak dives more with me, whereas I dive about 50% of Zach's, 50% of other people.
Yeah.
And I do dive alone sometimes. I try not to, but it's normally like a couple of times a year sort of thing.
Nice. It's sort of I'm only leading into. It was more of a question that during the podcast we try and give new Spiros or newer Spiros some advice in sort of like how would you guys recommend staying safe if diving alone? But I mean, from what you're saying, actually, the best way to dive safe alone is don't dive alone. Dive with a buddy. it's go buddy diving. It's way more fun.
It is, yeah. I mean, life got busy, and I was kind of nipping out on them odd hours here and there where I could, and I found myself. I mean, I dove alone on Tuesday night actually, again just for an hour at sunset, maybe an hour and a half, on a local mark. To stay safe, I guess you could let people know where you're going. Take a float, make sure you've got enough fluids on board. I guess if you're going for a longer trip. Be careful. I know it sounds silly, but just be careful. Don't push your limits to the max.
Yeah.
Gordon,
Safety,
talking about safety, you had a bit of a recent bit of a palaver or whatever you want to call it trip recently, haven't you? For the LIC pairs comp.
Oh bloody hell! What
We
a
did.
shenanigan that was, eh, Gordy?
It was a bit insane.
It was. We planned this for years because the last 2 years, 3 years been cancelled due to
Yeah.
weather, and we kind of had this plan. You know, we were going to do this, go there, get that fish, and then it all just went very fucking peak tongue, didn't it? Very quick.
Why?
Well, did you guys not have a radio in the boat then?
We had telephones.
No
we
radios.
we didn't have a VHF on board that
VHF.
day.
What happened?
So it's one of those trips where literally everything went wrong and it escalated over time, right? So we were quite frankly, we're in it to win it. You know, I mean, quite competitive people. We thought if we're going to do a comp, we're going to go for one, go really hard. Alarm 3:30 a.m. Get out there, try and get all 6 species, right? So that's what we done. Alarm 3:30, got down to the slipway. We knew it was a low tide launch, pretty hard, but we bought some ropes. We could lower the trailer past the slip, but it turned out it's a bit lower than expected. So we didn't have enough rope. So then we had to wrestle this bloody 4-meter rib through mud, which was about knee deep. The other 7 meters. Eventually, we got it down there. You know, obviously we were exhausted, hadn't slept. Eventually, got it into the water. Zach parked up the trailer, and then we got in. And then because it was really low, we had to be really, really slow getting out of the harbour. And because there's like these hidden shingle banks, and if you hit them, the propeller would shear, and that'd be a big problem. So that took us, you know, we were literally just like giving a little kick, and we're just drifting as slow as possible. Eventually, we got out, probably about an hour delayed by that point. And the forecast before had said, oh yeah, it would be like 20, 30 centimeter waves, maybe as high as 50 centimeter waves. But it turns out it was about 1 meter to 1.5 meters. So we were just like, oh, well, I mean, let's do it. Let's, you know, still put in 100%. So we just shot out of there, bashed ourselves to pieces, eventually got out. Our first place was a wind farm. And it doesn't have big fish, but we're pretty sure we could get bass, mullet, bream there without a problem. Yeah. So we started diving, and obviously the swell being pretty high, just smashing us around. Very hard to do breathe ups. The current, we had to like find a little triangles to hide and to dive. So it's very hard. And as soon as I started to see bass, one of the bands of my gun broke. Literally, there's a video of it. You can see a bass coming up beside me. I was just on the surface, and then just came out. Then I done a dive, rushed the shot because I had half power, missed it, and then got a different gun, which is horrifically overpowered, and then missed a bass on that one. And then the fish would disappeared. I don't know why. It happens. And the next second, the engine failed. And what happened then, Zach?
I was going to interject, Gordon. When we got out that harbour, we had about 52 nautical miles planned out for that day.
Yeah,
In
8
our
stops.
heads, it was going to be 20,
Yeah.
30 centimeters of swell. And we got out there, it was a meter and a half as we got a bit further offshore. And we were like, bloody Nora, we're going to get beaten up today. And you guys have been on boats. You know, it's not, when that swells up and you've got to do some miles, it can get awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, we dived the wind farm for about an hour and a half. The fish aren't there in the numbers we were hoping. We probably could have got it if we carried on looking. And we were kind of dipping turbine to turbine and kind of giving up the game plan here. But Gordon's put like 73 videos on YouTube about it, so there's no hiding. He put that spot out there on his YouTube. And the engine made a bit of an odd noise, and I thought, oh shit. And then it just died. And Gordon was on a turbine, and we've kind of got a system in place to do it as safely as possible. And Gordon was diving a turbine, and I kind of indicated to him, let's get back on the boat kind of thing. And the engine kind of grumbled a little bit, and I got just down tied of Gordon. Gordon got on the boat safely, and the engine did not start after that. And it was down to, I think, dodgy fuel. I haven't had time to kind of strip the engine down and have a look or anything yet, but we checked the fuel filter, and it was full of shit. And it was clean fuel before that. We ran it. We'd probably put 100 miles on that engine the last 2 weeks prior. It was beautiful. And we were out of the wind farm. We thought, oh, what do we do now then? And we were kind of pretty deflated, not panicking, which is good. We were just, what do we do then? And
but we couldn't anchor because Zak didn't have enough anchor rope.
I had about 70 feet, and I think out of the wind farm, it
was about 30 meters.
Yeah, it was about 30 meters. I had about maybe, I don't know, 20 meters, 25 meters of rope. Again, my fault. I should have kept more. We don't plan to anchor out of the wind farm. And I managed to contact a fishing friend in the harbour, and bless him, he said, "Yeah, I'll come and get you, Zak. I'll come and get you." He said, "Can you anchor?" I said, "No, I can't." And he got on the blower to the wing cat, the guys that look after the individual turbines out there, and they come and dropped me another 100 foot of rope and made sure we were okay. And we anchored just east of the wind farm. And the guy, bless him, I think he's got a 40-foot Rebel, and he chugged out there with his big dirty diesel inboard, doing probably 6.5, 7 knots, bless his heart. It took him about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get out. So we're probably 11 miles offshore at this point, right out the back of the farm kind of thing. And we just saw this big red boat in the distance, and I just, oh, beautiful. And he come and got us. We got on his boat, and he towed us back in, 2-hour chug back in. And we just said, that's the competition. Fuck now.
Yeah.
But Gordon, I'll give him his due. We obviously had a 2-hour wait there, and Gordon, bit of rope off the back of the boat just to make sure we haven't got an engine, we're anchored. And Gordon's diving down this rope, anchored to the boat, just one last bit, just diving into the abyss. There was nothing. We're in 35 meters of water, and he's just diving into the abyss.
You never know what might swim along, right? But it's additionally annoying because when we got the lift back, that was to Shoreham, whereas we left from Littlehampton. So then Zak had to go to Littlehampton, get someone to pick him up, take him to Littlehampton to get the car and trailer, bring it to Shoreham, and then winch his rib off dry ground at that point. So
that's probably 2 hours in the car. So we got to the harbour at, was it about 1 p.m? And that's the time we were planning to leave to get to Dorset anyway. And the good lady come and pick me up, which took her about 45 minutes to get to me. And she had to take me back to where the boat, the trailer and car were, and then headed back to Littlehampton. Gordon's there. The boat is completely dry, just sitting on sand, where this lovely guy dropped the boat off when the tide was high-ish, and then the tide had gone out. And blessed, he's just sitting there, deflated, like, oh, a bit sunburned, a bit cooked.
Did you win?
Back in the
Did you win a fucking attendance trophy at least? No, you probably did it because did you even go to the after party?
We did not. By the time we finished everything, it was like 7 p.m. I just went home. Went back to London.
Fuck, I'm going to bed. Fuck this.
By the time I got back to London, it'd been like a 19-hour day.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was a really shit.
I feel like I got 6 dives in individually.
Jeez. So the point of the story is: do not go out with Zak and Gordon if they offer the boat trip.
Yeah, don't take any advice from these two. Oh no! Going back to wind farm then, because I'm really interested in that. So the wind farms, you say that the depth around the turbines is 30 meters. What's the structure? Is it just a solid big old pole that goes down, or what's it look like under there?
Pretty
I'm
much.
probably going to get it wrong. I'll kind of it's is it 106 individual turbines. I'm not sure on the span of each wing. I've got about 300 feet in my head, but it could be more. And they're kind of dotted, or maybe 8 to 10 miles from Shoreham. Depths range from on low tides probably 25 meters to out the very back of the farm because they're kind of in rows. They're kind of in maybe a 2 or 3 mile width
Yeah.
east to west, and then they kind of head back in rows. And as I say, there's about 106 of them, and they're just kind of these gigantic them things you get in the garden that spin with the wind. Just 106 of them. And I'll let Gordy tell the stories about the wind farm. He loves it out there. I love it as well, but Gordon particularly loves it out on the wind farm. Trying to drag me out there in 7 meters of swell.
Nice. Go on, Gord.
I like wind farm. So the turbines themselves, they are like big cones basically, and there's a ring of anodes, which at low tide is about 5 meters down. At high tide is about 10 meters down, obviously depending on the height of the tide. And so what you can do, you can just dive down onto those anodes and hide like, a third of the way down mid-water. And then you can look down or you can look forward, depending where the fish are, and just very still aspetto. I should also mention it can be very, very ropey out there. The current can generally in the area be a couple of knots, but then when it hits a turbine, it is amplified. So right beside the turbine, it can, obviously it's like a gradient from the turbine out, but for width of a human, it's probably like 7-8 knots. So if the current's running, you've got to be very careful. If it swells up, you've got to be very careful. It's a big expanse. Everything looks the same. You've got to have a buddy who you can really rely on. But it's also really fun. The fish out there, they're not super big. You never get like a PB, but you can get like big shoals of 50, 55 centimeter bass just passing within a foot of your face. It's
Wow.
It's really fun, actually.
It is a treat for Sussex. Seeing the fish shoaled up like that, it really is a treat. We've had some really good days out there, and it does seem to have dropped off the last few years. I don't know if you'd agree, Gordy, or not. It depends. We had a red letter day out there in I think 2021, maybe 2022.
Yeah,
where it was just the fishing was insane out there, and it has dropped off since. It does seem to have. The shoals aren't there anymore in numbers like they used to be, and it can
Is it commercially fished?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It is commercially fished, as in rod and line. There's a lot of I went out there maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and there was 8 or 9 commercially registered lure fishermen.
Yeah,
absolutely having it off in their big warriors and that in there, and it was. I went out there with lures for years and caught some beautiful bass out there. Again, nothing big. I think the biggest we've had out there is 64 centimeters, which is it's a stunning fish, but they're not them. You don't get the big mummers out there. Well, I've never seen them.
Yeah. Nice. And so I take it the fish they're sort of using that the structure in the vast nothingness of the sea. They're just using that structure to sort of congregate around. And those anodes you were saying, Gordon, are they what kind of size are they? With the swell that you're talking about, are you going down and grabbing onto the anodes? Are you hanging on, or are you staying away from it?
Oh, good. Go down and grabbing on.
Yeah.
There's also 2 pipes and a ladder, part of the structure, but they're around one particular side. The easiest way is to go down and grab onto the anode and pull yourself flat.
How big's the anode?
So they are about, I'd say, 40 to 50 centimeter wide. It's a ring all the way around, and it's like an anode and then a little gap and then another anode and then a little gap, and they're like staple shaped going down about 2 meters. So you can kind of see through the gaps in the anodes. I'm assuming the anodes. I've never been officially told for anodes, but it's the only thing they can realistically be. So hopefully I'm right.
Nice.
I was just Googling it. That's like sacrificial anodes, like you had on a boat engine, right? Where it
I'd assume
wears
so,
away
yeah.
to stop the wind turbine being attacked, maybe.
Yeah. There's a ton of videos on my YouTube if you want to see the wind farm in all its glory and how to hunt it.
What is your YouTube? Just for everybody else's.
G Murphy.
Cool. Nice one.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you see
What
plenty
kind
of bream out there as well, you're saying?
Yeah, you get beam.
I'm desperate to catch a bream. Well, I said that last year and I never did, but because Rich has caught one and we're doing species competition this year as we do every year. What kind of bream can you find out there? Is it black bream or
black bream? Yeah. And again, nothing massive. We've had some okay sized ones, but a lot of the ones out there are, just a couple of centimeters above legal. But if it's a species comp, then if you come up to Sussex, I'm sure we'll strand you out there at some point.
I'll bring my boat.
Just
And
book
my
out
fuel.
5 days. Book out 5 days and have the Coast Guard on speed with that. Prerequisites for diving with Gordon and Zach.
What kind of? Oh, sorry. What kind of guns are you guys using out on those wind farms?
I'm pretty bad with my gear maintenance. I'm that guy, if you know what I mean, where I've kind of got a 3-year-old wetsuit top, or I'm borrowing Gordon's pissy 7mm. And yeah, I'm not the best for gear maintenance. It never goes wrong, but it often doesn't go right either. I'm using at the moment a 60cm Paphos laser, which I think is a twin 16. It's perfect for Sussex. It packs a punch. I think I can nail fish from 3.5, or probably pushing it meters away. I've got a reel with about 25, maybe 30 meters of Dyneema on it. And yeah, it's perfect for Sussex. I have got a backup. I've got a little Rob Allen 80. I think it's a Scorpio, which comes out on the boat sometimes in case something goes wrong with my gun. That suits most of my Sussex fishing.
And Gord, what are you using?
So for almost all of my spearfishing, I use a Paphos Sniper 55, which is a very nice gun, twin 16. I've got a very high stretch ratio, so you can only just pull it back, and that's with a quite short gun, when the viz does open up, I can still hit fish, over 4 meters away from it, which is quite good. For when I head down to Cornwall, I've got another gun, Paphos Open Carbon, twin 18 band, in 82cm barrel, and that again is so you can make the use of a viz down there. I've only got a couple more spares because you've got to have some spares.
Because why not?
Yeah, nice. That video, Gordy. Was it that 30 or 40 quid spear gun you bought yonks ago? And I think for a challenge, you tried to nail a bass, didn't you, on it once when the shoals were in? Did you ever get the video off? Did you?
So I mean, in the end, the video was with mullet because I had accidentally shot that bass beforehand, so I couldn't do a proper comparison between the guns. But,
okay.
That's right. I mean, it's a very cheap gun. I think it's just like a single 14mm band and one of these like noob spears. I got it when I was trying to convince myself I wanted to buy a short gun because, not enough people were saying you should get a short gun. So just for testing purposes. And I mean, as Ivan always says, it's less about the gun. It's more about the spearo, right? If you got the technique, you got the skills, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Something cheap and cheerful still shoots fish.
100%.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's you definitely don't need the best equipment to be able to get into it. That's for sure. Unless you're Anthony, of course.
My gear makes up for my lack of skill, so it's fine.
You're both professional working guys and obviously quite busy. How do you guys manage to fit spearfishing into your lives? Is it easy? Is it hard? What do you do?
I'm kind of stuck in the rat race. I'm a 9 to 5 guy. So I've got quite a young daughter. She's nine months now. So I just fit it in wherever I can and pre-book it with a good lady 3 years in advance. Beth, I'll be out on this weekend, and
3 years in advance.
So I'll just kind of get in as of when I can, which doesn't always. It's not always for a long time. Sometimes it's on my own. Gordy, you got a bit more time, haven't you, Chief? So you tend to
so
Tuesday morning.
So basically, because the company I work for is my own company. It's a very small firm, but basically that gives me flexibility as long as I hit my deadlines. If I want to take Wednesday off, go diving and work on Sunday, not a problem. Don't have to ask anyone, don't have to do anything. As long as I don't have meetings, it's, no one is bullying me to be in an office 9 to 5 to soothe their own ego. So it's good for me.
Nice. And obviously being in Sussex way, obviously the vis isn't always great. So are you guys supplementing that with like sort of doing training in the pool or anything like that?
I do a little bit over the winter. Yeah, I do a little. Is it George Hallhouse? I saw him at an LIC social 2 or 3 years ago, and he mentioned this technique, and I really enjoyed doing it. And it was just length of the pool, maybe a length and back of a pool, holding your breath, really slow breaststroke. And I do a little bit of apnea walking from time to time, but the pool training's better over the winter months. It keeps the pounds off, and it's good fun in the evening.
Yes, for sure. Go, what about yourself? Are you training?
A couple of years ago, I used to do pool training in the winter, but basically, Zach and I, we didn't really stop diving. So we dive throughout the winter as well. Less often.
Out, Gordon, in -1, -2, wasn't it? It was
-2, yes.
Pumping up a boat, and there was frost on the floor to go and dive and hunt crustaceans because we had a lovely bit of, was it January, February?
I think that was December, the -2. But then that wasn't so bad because the water at least then was about 12 degrees, right?
Yeah.
So it's freezing outside, but if you're in the water, you're all right. I think it was January or February when we went to go for scallops, and that was worse because the air temp was about 5, but the water was about 8.
Yeah.
And that was really quite brutal. But
nice. Going back to what you were saying earlier on with bream, what are the bream there for? Are the wind turbines covered in mussels?
And there's some mussels there.
Yeah.
What do you think the bream's there for? It's only just trying to get an idea as to what the bream are feeding on that sort of brings them more up your way as opposed to down this way.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the other question is, if you are in Cornwall and you go 12 miles out to a really high pinnacle or structure, will you find black bream there?
Few and far between.
Okay.
But
you get a lot more species of bream the further west you head, which is, yeah. We are pretty limited. I know the odd one's been spotted, but it's 19, from what I've seen, 99% black bream in Sussex.
Nice. Has there been much reports of tuna up your way? Bluefin?
There was a huge dead one found in Chichester Harbour, which is probably 5 to 10 miles west of where I am. And it was they took it in and weighed it, and I think it was over 450 pounds. That was found dead floating around near Chichester, but I've never seen one. I don't know if 60 would handle it, to be honest.
A 60 foot. So moving on to Gordon, because of your sort of position in the BSA, I wanted to talk a little bit more about, I don't want to say the woke side of spearfishing, but the lobbying side of spearfishing and the environmental, the sustainability stuff. So what do you think of the environment? We'll edit that out. So what do you think the environmental impacts of spearfishing are, and how do you how do you spearfish sustainably, or what do you think?
I mean, the environmental impacts, basically none compared to other types of fishing. We don't create any bycatch, really. We don't leave fishing waste everywhere. We're probably the most sustainable way of fishing. And in terms of what we catch, I think having quite a large mixed bag, as lots of spearios target lots of different species, obviously that decreases any impact. I think spearfishing is probably one of the least effective ways of fishing. So catch per unit effort for spearfishing is incredibly low. And if you compare like our impact to even other recreational fishing, let alone commercial fishing, it is so small, it is completely insignificant.
Mm. So, what do you think the misconceptions are from sort of like the public to what spearfishing is?
The biggest problem spearfishers face is a lack of education, and not just for the public, for the fisheries as well, because they don't have a clue. They literally have no idea how many spearfishers there are, how much they're catching. They just don't really know. I mean, some of them have the vaguest of ideas. Some of them even know what it is, but most people don't know. And you can't blame them because that information isn't out there. So, I mean, that's part of what we're trying to do with this socio-economics piece, which I'm working on. And unfortunately, been very busy with my own work recently. But the whole point of that is to try and educate authorities as to our actual impact, effects, and how much value we bring to the local economies and the fishing sector.
Yeah.
Come on, Gordon. Don't you know that your role in the BSA is far more important than your job?
Yeah,
You should know.
Gordon.
You should know this by now that you have to drop everything and do what you're meant to be doing straight away.
Probably.
Anthony knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, honestly, tell me about it. My fucking company does. Jesus Christ. So, I mean, with that socioeconomic report, that's going to hopefully show, because a lot of people don't realise that in that report, that when spearfishers go to spearfish in a specific area, they're also bringing money to the local economy. Most spearos, I know, especially with you guys, if you're going down to Cornwall, are you staying there overnight?
Yeah, that's the time.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be having food probably in, whether it be a local restaurant or even in the hotel restaurant. You're going to be using local amenities. It's, although it's within the country, it's you're taking your spending power to different places. And spearfishers, me and Ben went up to Scotland. Rich couldn't come, but we're taking our money up there and spending our money in those economies and not doing an impact, like other types of commercial recreational fishing.
Exactly. And in general, I mean, if you think about how much it costs to get the very basic spearfishing equipment compared to the very basic rod and line fishing equipment, it is so much more expensive. You're spending a ton more money just to get set up before you even hit the water. So on a per fish basis, spearfishing is probably the most expensive per fish by a significant amount.
Multiple times, like in the orders of probably tens of times the amount, especially if you're as shit at spearfishing as me.
And that's before you start thinking about people getting boats to go spearfishing. those other things. What's bait short for, Zach? Is it bag on another 1,000?
Something like that, Gordy. Yeah, it does add up quickly, doesn't it? Yeah, you add the complications, and I agree with everything. That's you're traveling places, you're spending money in different places and putting money into that economy. And then, like Gordon said, you add the extra complication of boats and everything else that goes on with it, or new guns, new wetsuits. There's always something out there to catch you.
Yeah. Your report is actually probably going to scare the shit out of me, only because when you look at, like you were saying, the cost per catch, especially when you start tying boats into it. I've sold my boat this year. I needed to, but you're talking that one bass that you're celebrating over. It's my PV, for example, £9.5. That bass probably cost me 150 quid. Like, if you were to split that down into how much my gear costs and how many fish I've caught, that's a fucking. I could go and have that bass 10 times over in a restaurant and still not have paid. But how are you finding the lobby and sort of working on behalf of the BSA and behalf of the membership? How are you finding getting in touch with the outside world, so to speak?
So I think it's a bit of an interesting one, whereas a lot of these processes are very long. a lot of them started a long time ago, and a lot of them are like a closed group. For example,
When you're
the
saying,
FMPs.
I was going to say, sorry to interject.
Yeah.
Are you meaning like the FMPs, CFAS, DEFRA?
Yeah, I mean, so the FMPs in particular, like they won't like expand or redo things or
What's an
bring in new
FMP?
people. Fisheries management plan. And so, for example, because we only started doing this year, we've only been able to register our interest into a couple of those. So we are going to be included in those processes. However, we've been quite lucky in that some of the other bodies who represent fishing have been very welcoming and interested in us and happy to collaborate with us and help us. And so we are involved in these processes and probably all of the processes directly or indirectly. And some of them are quite interesting. Obviously, I've got quite a lot of skills in data and analytics, so I've been helping some of them to help them make their points to try and push policy on, for them on our behalf in, where our ideas align quite closely. And then we have obviously the more formal consultations. There's consultations coming up all the time, and then we respond to those where we can. There's meetings on things like pollock, which we get involved in. And I know Anthony attended one of those and, on our behalf, because we decided it was too expensive to send me down to Cornwall or Plymouth rather. What else is there? Oh yeah, lots of other little things. I think one of the things with lobbying is, obviously you have these big national efforts, and then you've got the larger regional efforts, but there's all of, I guess probably thousands of small things going on all the time. So, I mean, there's other people who are interested in that sort of thing, and we have I have conversations with basically anyone that wants to get involved in lobbying. And just try to have a little bit of a network to take care of the smaller objectives while I focus on the large objectives.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, one of the other things that we had recently was the Wembury meeting with was it Plymouth County Council?
I mean, I'm not sure if we want to include this on the podcast. I find that probably about a third of the things we start working towards or considering just die. I don't know if to just die, but essentially because they have a voluntary marine conservation zone there, they say no spearfishing on the signs. They don't point out it's voluntary, so it's very misleading and it's very annoying. We were approached by Plymouth City Council, who think that they can help us to negotiate that and essentially get rid of the no spearfishing sign and instead have a spearfishing code of conduct. Whereas obviously we don't want to restrict spearfishing either. So we have made a code of conduct which is very much aligned to the BSA safety booklet. So,
and again,
hopefully it will go through.
You and I have had lots of conversations about it, and we've been talking about it quite in depth. And I think with Wembury as an example, I think going back to what we were saying with the environmental impact and the public perception is that I actually think that Wembury voluntary, no spearfishing has stemmed from both a lack of education about what spearfishing is and probably some bad not relational, but some bad experiences in the past from locals of Wembury with spearfishers. So, like with the public perception of spearfishing, you see a spearfisher get in, you're like, oh, he's dressed like a dickhead. What the hell's he doing? And then 2 hours later, he gets out with this stringer of 10 dead fish and everybody's wowed about it. But then a couple of the people that are a little bit, I can't say woke, can I? No, fuck it, I'm saying woke. That are a little bit or very woke, mainly vegan. They've got this issue with the fact that, oh, well, you've killed all these things and you're bringing them in and it's all bad. When actually, like with the socioeconomic report, it's actually, this is just all good. And it's education that needs to happen. But I want to blow your trumpet a little bit in this podcast, Gordon. No one other than I has any idea the amount of back and forth, extremely detailed emails that go between you, the Bass Fisheries Management Plan, otherwise known as the Bass FMP, the Pollock FMP, local, the Plymouth City. The amount of work that you're doing on behalf of the BSA and spearfishing the UK is unparalleled. It's the BSA in you has the best driving force for lobbying. And all I will say is, first of all, thank you. The amount of work you're doing is I would like to duplicate your brain at some point and put it in like 100 more people. But we need more of it. We need more of your mindset and your profession, your skill set, to be able to go into these conversations, but also just be open and say that these conversations, we can have them. We need to be putting ourselves in front of everybody, like CFAS and DEFRA, as the Angling Trust has. We need to become a force that is, and we are doing that with you, that is a force to be reckoned with. Because we're not going to take anything lying down. And like with Wembury saying no spearfishing, we will work with them. And like you say, we will make a code of conduct and appreciate and respect their wants, but also, by law, we're allowed to go in there. It's spearfishing is one of the best forms of fishing. Don't tell me no without having the conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, that was a serious bit of chat. We need to get back on the bullshit. Bring Ben.
There literally is no better person to do the lobbying role than Gordon.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was like me, for example. I'd just be like emailing, going, "Yeah, we're feeding all the fish some steel." That's it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job, Gordon. Well done, mate.
Well, I'm thinking that actually to give Gordon more time, Zach's an accountant. Why have you not volunteered to be a treasurer, Zach?
Oh no, I probably should have. I've helped the LIC out historically with some finance stuff. Maybe one day you can hand the reins over.
Nice. You two will be a good team, I think. So
in every group, in every group of mates, there's always one that's a really good chef. So which one is it?
Oh, that's Gordon for sure. Yeah, Gordon can cook up a good bit of bass or a crab for sure, or a bit of plates in Brighton Beach, Gordy. That was a good afternoon, wasn't it? When we nailed them plates, and then I cook up on the beach.
Yeah, in our group, it's Ben. Unfortunately, I like to say it's myself,
Ben's
but
I think you're both pretty good, to be honest.
I think Ben's the top tier.
I sent Richard a recipe because the Dorset Club's doing a recipe book at the moment, and I was having breakfast this morning and I started writing down this recipe that I cooked the other day, and it's about 2 pages of A4. It looks really impressive on paper. It probably wasn't that impressive.
There's
in
like
real life.
one PDF page, like A4 size, that I've created recipes for the Dorset Club, and he sends me like a fucking book. How do you want me to get all of that in there?
I figured it's a competition and volume's important, right?
Mate, have you, and they wouldn't mind me saying this, but the Dorset lads are far from master chefs. I don't think they're going to be able to cook that up.
What was the recipe cooking?
Oh, I did like a lobster bisque. So those lobsters that we found the other night, I cooked them up and had the meat and then made a bisque with the shells. And then I had some pollock in the fridge from a couple of nights before and kind of like cooked the pollock in the bisque, and it was just it was next level. It was probably
mate,
good.
that sounds so good. I'm same as you. I think it's quite interesting. Sort of when you're diving regularly and you have sort of bits left over from previous dives to incorporate them into recipes together. So I did a fish curry the other day, which was a scallop and mullet curry. And yeah, it was fantastic. And I've kept the mullet, so the skeletons of the mullet. to make a stock with it, so I can make some fish ramen.
Nice.
Nice.
So that's quite interesting. But Gord, what's your favorite recipe? What's the best one you got? Like one that you always get out when you want to impress everyone with?
I can tell you my least favourite first. I nailed this tubby old mullet on the end of a shit pipe in Sussex. I think it was maybe about 3 years ago, and made this lovely beer batter for it. Cooked it up, some mullet nuggets, should we say, with I think some new potatoes. And I was really looking forward to it. And I took a bite and I tasted actual feces,
Oh no.
like genuine feces. First time it's ever happened. Maybe the meat had absorbed something it had been eating, and I had enough. I had to have another one. And I said to my girl, I said, have a bite. And she smelled it. And she's like,
What
doesn't
kind of
smell
fucking
like
kink is this, Zach?
And I ended up giving them to the dog, and the dog loved them. But
Poor fucking dog.
the dog was eating the chewy nuggets,
We're gonna have the
mullet nuggets.
RSPCA fucking on our case.
Yeah,
First of all, how did you know that it tasted like feces?
that's a valid question. I mean, I'm gonna have to cut the podcast here and probably have
Bye, Zach.
it tastes like I'd imagined it to taste.
Yeah, I was going to say I back Zach on that one because I don't know if anyone's ever had what's called a poo chip before.
A poo chin.
By the
Poo chip?
yeah, poo chip. No, no one's never had one, right? So Google it; it's a legit thing. So
No,
what
I'm
it is,
fucking googling it.
Private
what
mode.
it is, what it is that sort of every now and then there's a slice of a chip from a frozen bag of chips that is gone off or whatever it is, right? And when potatoes start to go off, they smell and taste like shit. And again, I don't know what shit tastes like, but I'd imagine it tastes like that.
Yeah.
It smelled like shit. And I ate this chip once, and I legit thought that someone in the factory had shoved this chip up their arse and then put it back in the bag. And I was like, no way, this can't be right. So I Googled it, and apparently it's a legit thing. It's a poo chip. So I'll back you on that one, Zach. It smells more of shit than it tastes of shit, I think.
Thank you,
Forbidden
Richard.
chip.
There. Appreciate that.
Gordon, please save us. What's your best recipe?
Best recipe. What species?
A fish.
A
Yeah,
fish.
just give us your banger, the one that you pull out when you want to impress everyone.
If you're going on a date and you're taking her home,
I normally cook whatever I've caught, right? So it's a bit random. Like scallops, I normally do a pasta with them. You obviously sear your scallops, and then you pop in some white wine, deglaze it, cook some onions down. Just mix that in with a pasta, bit of basil, finish with truffle oil, pop your scallops on top. Bass, I just like to fry it skin size down with basil on the back. Pollock, I like it with like a tandoori masala, and you just fry the fillets.
Yeah, nice.
Place with potatoes, lemon, capers, scored, quite standard, but that's probably the best way to do them. I tried Tony Sykes's Cajun flounder recipe. That was really, really good. I mean, mullet tacos, I'm sure we've seen Dan Mann's videos, but I normally use cornflakes to bread them instead. But
Yeah.
So as the chef, what's your favorite?
I don't know.
What's your favorite fish? I mean, what's the one that you like? If you could go out spearfishing tonight, no, you can't do that because we're naughty. But tomorrow morning, what would you want to catch to eat?
Probably bass. I haven't had very many good bass this season. It's it's got quite a meaty flavor.
Okay.
It's funny how it depends where you live in the country as to your answer to that
I've
question.
got so many bass in the freezer.
Because
I'm sick of them.
at the end of last year, me and Ben were like, "Oh God, can't eat another bass."
Yep.
We were literally getting so fed up trying to find different ways to cook them, weren't we, mate?
Yeah, and they're quite variable as well. I don't know if it's like times of the season or just like different sizes of fish eat different things, but I find like when they've been eating crabs and stuff like that, they're extra tasty. But when they've been on the white bait, they just get a little bit oily. I don't know if you guys find that as well out there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. The bass that I caught with you the other day when we caught the lobsters.
I bet that's good.
Yeah, I took the photo of its belly contents because when I gutted this bass, it was the first time I've ever seen this properly full belly. And there was 6 tiny little, some kind of crab. Whether they were, I don't think they were swimmers, but there were tiny little crabs, and belly was just full of them, no eel or anything. And it was probably the nicest tasting bass I've ever had.
Mm.
But usually the bass that I had all of last year were 1, full of worms, and 2, they were whitebait eating bass or sand eel bass. And yeah, I'm not interested. I'll happily shoot them and keep them for the protein that they are, but I'd rather shoot stingray. Not stingray. You're not allowed to shoot stingray. I probably would do stingray. But yeah, Zach, yours?
Black bream for me is probably up the top of the list on a barbecue. Pretty minimal seasoning. You can't really, for me, unmatched on a barbecue black bream.
Are they much harder to catch where you are than the bass?
They're very scatty.
Yeah.
They tend to stay at the edge of the viz. And Sussex is renowned. I mean, I don't know if you guys have dived Sussex. 3 meters for us is good, like pretty good. 5 meters is wow. And anything over that, in 5 years of diving, I've seen it with 7 to 10 meters, top to bottom viz, a handful of times. And the black breams stay right on the edge of the viz for me. And they'll come in, and you move your eyes and they're gone. You move your hand, they're gone. They're really scatty.
I'd love to know why that is, whether they are the same fish that have got the memory to be skittish and they sort of know you as a threat. Because like you look at the bass, you get a shoulder bass, they don't give a shit. They're just like, oh, what's this big black thing in the water? Let's go and have a look at this guy. But the bream will stay right behind them. They're like, the bass are fucking retards.
I was thinking about, say, mackerel, right? I mean, rod and line guys can pull up hundreds and hundreds of mackerel, stupidly abundant. But as a spearfisher, they're fairly rare. Like I've only seen a handful of them ever. So I think some species just something big in the water keep well away. They don't want anything to do with it. So in that way, I think that bream are probably relatively curious compared to the whole spectrum.
Nice. So moving on to, sort of getting back into what I was saying earlier on about for noob spearos, give me your top 3 tips if you were giving tips to a brand new spearo. Zach?
Join a club, pick people's brains, try and get out with someone. If you're not going to do a course, try and get out with someone that can be vouched for as being a safe and good spearo.
So not you.
Not me. Don't come out with me. Don't come out with me on a boat, whatever you do. Try and get out with someone who knows, that can hold your hand and teach you how to equalise and dive safely with correct procedures. That's my advice would be. That would probably be the advice. If you can't take a course for whatever reason, it probably would be take a course, which I haven't done. So I can only talk from personal experience, and just get out with people that know how to dive safely. Concentrate on the spearfishing later. Number 1 has to be ensure you can dive safely, correctly, track your equalization, your weighting, being comfortable, making sure the wetsuit fits and you're hydrated enough, and all them 5 or 10% just ensure that you've got that down. So many people rush out and they'll get the GoPro. They'll go and buy the GoPro because they want to show their friends and family, and rightfully so to a degree. But a dive watch for me, it really changed my diving. Just knowing, I think I was far too eager to get back down there. You've just seen a shoal of fish, you want to get back down there. And when I got the watch, I was trying to dive 40, 50 seconds after a dive. And I was like, no, let's give this another minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Nice. Gordon?
I think for a new spearo, and talking from experience, because I learned in Sussex, where there's quite low visibility, I think for a new spearo, it's quite hard because you don't get the feedback from the fish until you're good enough for them to come in. So when you're in Cornwall, you can see the fish from the surface sometimes, and you can, when you're down and underwater, you can see them from a long distance. And so even if you're not very good, you can see how you move and how the fish react. Whereas if you're learning in Sussex, you have to be dead still. You have to be doing, 80% right to even see anything. So, I mean, you can get very lucky, or you can go on one of the days, which is really good. But normally, if you're trying to learn, you've got to be really, it's a much harder learning curve. So I guess from that, one thing I would say is go to Cornwall occasionally so you can shoot some fish. But also, I mean, you see things on YouTube and people give you advice of, just go down and stay still and then move. Really, really pay attention to that. And even if you don't see anything, I mean, sometimes you can be diving, same place, face one way, don't move, see nothing, face a different way, fish will come by, and you just have to, just I think there's a lot of belief or trust in what you're being told to do to try and get that interactive experience with a fish and learn how not to spook them. So that'd be the first one. And I also think, almost contrary to what Zach was saying, I think a GoPro is a really good thing. But I mean, there's one you can self-reflect, but also I remember, like 3-4 years ago, me and Zach, we would go out and be diving the same location and we would share GoPro footage. So like there's this one location we're diving really large holes, they're really long holes, but kind of quite flat. And he was seeing quite a lot of bass and I was seeing none. And just looking at the GoPro footage, I could see he was moving around quite quickly. So that you would see the bass, but they'd just disappear. Whereas I was going super, super slowly, but not covering enough ground. So you just to get that, like, in that, the comparison, why is someone doing well or better than you with the same sort of experience? I mean, what is going differently? I mean, you can't compare yourself to some of the best spearos out there that do YouTube, but you can compare yourself to your mate who's been diving the same amount of time, and you can learn a lot from what they do differently and what they see differently.
Yeah, we were both at kind of opposite ends of that spectrum when we first started, Gordon, weren't we? Well, I don't know if I'm talking for you, but I was very scatty. Gordon would watch my my GoPro footage and he'd say he gets a bit travel sick from it, whereas Gordon was very slow to the point where it wasn't covering maybe the ground you needed to see the fish, or just to kind of figure out what area the fish were in, and then you could slow it down a bit. And we were both at polar opposites, and we've kind of met in the middle a little bit more now. I've learned to slow it down. My head still does this a little bit too much when I watch the footage back, but we've learned to slow it down. And Gordon's kind of picked it up just a little bit, haven't you, from what I've seen? Just a little bit, where you'll cover that extra bit of ground, or you will look in that hole from the other angle, or you'll check out that cave from round the back and see if there's anything around there, which is good.
Nice. Awesome. So one question I have got for you, Zach, probably one of the final ones before we wrap this up, as I think it's been, an hour and 20 minutes? From an accountant's point of view, how do you put spearfishing gear through a company as write-offs? Because my customers really do need me in a wetsuit. So
wholeheartedly, it'll be difficult, because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, you can't spearfish commercially in the UK as of today, can you? There's no commercial spearos.
Nope. No, you can commercial hand dive scallops. There is licenses for that, but there is no spearfishing. You cannot sell a spearfish.
There you go, Sam. That's your wetsuit. You are now a commercial scallop diver. There we go. Yeah, and of course the spear gun's there for decorative purposes, but I guess.
Yeah, the aggressive bass. Yeah. Aggressive, the man-eating bass.
Absolutely. There we go.
Nice. I will give HMRC your number.
Please don't.
Lads, thank you very much for coming on. Ben, Rich, have you got anything else you want to ask these two?
No, it's great. Just looking forward to going to dive with you one day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love to come and do the pier up there. I've heard a lot about. Is it Bognor Pier?
Brighton Pier.
Brighton Pier. Yeah, that's watching a couple of the videos on Dan Mann and seeing that structure. I'd love to come up there. So we'll have to arrange that soon. But thank you for coming on. And we wish you all the best. And Gordon, keep up your good work. Zach, don't kill Gordon. We need him.
Thank you very much all for entertaining us.
No, it's perfect. Thanks for coming on, guys, and we'll
Yeah, just coming on, lads.
we'll catch up with you soon.
Awesome.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
one, gents.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Cheers, bye.
Oh, mate, that was epic. I can't help myself. I haven't done it for a while, to be fair.
How have you not done it for so long yet? You say the exact same thing.
Well, that's because I think every one of these episodes are so good. I'm glad you both think so too.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about our introduction that we've just recorded.
No, I was talking about the podcast.
I was like, a bit vain.
Fucking hell, nothing touches you boys, does it? Like, yeah, jeez.
We are so.
I'm working
professional
with
at
some proper studs here, I tell you.
this, honestly. Who's
Yeah,
that one
no,
that does a podcast? He's got nothing on us. Joe Rogan. Fuck off, Joe Rogan.
No, it was great. It was really good to learn a little bit more about the Sussex area because it's not somewhere I've dived, and I'd really like to go there at some point. Have you guys dived that way before?
Nope.
No. Sounds like hard work.
I was going to say he's a bit of a fairy to be doing that.
Fuck off.
I'm probably going to get slow enough calling you that.
I suppose it's we kind of used to their viz anyway in East Devon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
But then I suppose when it's that bad here, we just don't go.
that's not true. You might not.
Yeah, I don't. I'm getting to be a fair weather diver that I said I'd never be. But no, I'd love to go to those wind turbines.
Yeah, I was going to say the
think-
wind farms
yeah,
sound really
They're
cool.
really
yeah.
cool.
I've never understood why people have got such a big issue with wind turbines, and they're like, "Oh my god, they're so ugly." I'm like, I think they're really cool.
Yeah, I agree,
I
mate.
think they look fucking awesome. When you go down to somewhere like Cornwall, and even in the car on the way down there, Rachel's like, she knows how far we are in the distance once you start seeing the windmills, and then there's that little bunch of trees on the top left as you go down the dual carriageway. And it's like, I don't understand why anybody would say a windmill looks ugly. Like,
I think it'd be a cool scene to be diving amongst them off the wind farm. That'd be a cool experience.
what they're saying about the whole the current as it comes and sort of divides around the thing would be a bit sketchy though. I mean, when they were saying 7 or 8 knots, once it hits that the base of it, like
It's pretty full
fuck
on.
that.
And I'm surprised that there's not like bigger fish out there as well.
That kind of current.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I'd love to go there sometime. I'm still really keen to go, like you say, to Brighton Pier and dive some of the stuff off of Bognor as well. I kind of wish I'd gone this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rich, did you go Bognor?
No, I missed it.
None of us went. None of us know how it was. But we've got the BSA National Champion this year. I know we're going to be talking about it, obviously, in the BSA. But obviously, we've had the 3 national competitions, and Mr. Daniel Mann is the British champion for 2024.
Very good.
Well done.
Well done. I was not wanking. That was clapping. That was clapping down. We only wank together. But we weren't telling anyone about that. No, yeah. Consistency. Because Dan won, but didn't win the others, but placed high.
Ring Steady came second, something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember the scores off the top of my head.
It was second because I remember in Ringstead that he was 5th, and then there was a recount because of the fact that there was one bat missed in the point scoring.
That's right.
Dave Stevens misheard. So yeah, no, well done, Dan. 2024 national champion. Congratulations. It's well worth it. I mean, Christ, the guy dives constantly. He's a fish.
Yeah.
It's a fish. Dave Stevens' hacks weren't working as well this year. Going to have to get one of those updates, software updates for his hacks.
Well, he still won Ringstead, didn't he? So
yeah,
can't be that bad.
It would be nice at some point in the near future for like one of us 3 to actually become a good Spiro. We talked to lots of spearfishers about all their stuff. Maybe we could take on some of their advice and become good one day. But we'll have to kill all the good ones off.
Yeah, I'm just like playing the waiting game. I'm waiting for all these good ones to like retire and not die because I like them, but just retire is good enough, and then we can actually maybe possibly start doing well.
Maybe, or maybe we'll just haven't you guys brought up? I think it was a couple of podcasts ago because I keep forgetting that we were doing our own little mini competition between ourselves.
We did write something down, didn't we? Yeah.
We're doing the species comp.
We talked about it, didn't we?
I think Ben's...
Was that last year or this year?
I love how Ben's like, no, I don't know what you're on about. I don't update it every day.
I don't know. I don't know what you're on about. Let me pull up my spreadsheet.
I have actually just put up my spreadsheet.
He's already got it pulled up.
I don't think it counts though, because that was 2013. We've just forgotten and not done it this year.
2013?
Yeah.
No, I think we didn't. You did make
11 years ago.
Last year.
That's 2023.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Wrong decade. Yeah, 2023.
I'm sure we did make one at the beginning of the year.
Oh, did we? I don't know.
But I think you definitely win it, mate.
Yeah, well, we've got the Dorset one now, haven't we? So that's going to be an interesting test. We've got a species comp and a cooking comp. So
yeah, I've noticed that your entries are coming thick and fast on the cookbook comp. It's good. It inspires me to come up with new recipes.
Yeah, exactly. I love a bit of healthy competition.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
And it's like I looked at the cookbook and it was like Ben Rich.
That's kind of like the AGM, apart from there was no Rich. It was just Ben.
Oh yeah, I've learned my lesson. I'm not saying next to him this year.
I'm not going this year.
just whatever you do, anytime.
No, you are going. I'm just not saying next to you.
Just add Ben's email to spam folder. It's fine. The other thing that happened more recently, aka yesterday afternoon, last night, was it was a weird string of events in that it started with an email from His Majesty's Royal Coast Guard, saying that a vessel had just found a 1 meter red spearfishing vessel with a spear gun, pair of Crocs, and a location device like a GPS or a panic signal. What do you call them?
Beacon device.
AOS,
yeah, a beacon. And so I'm in the car 5 minutes away from the office, so I start making some phone calls, going because the way that the Coast Guard worded the email. They said, "Oh, we were aware that there was a spearfishing competition on the 20th. Maybe somebody's lost their gear, and we'd just like to make sure it's all okay." I'm like, "Hang on, it's the 31st. That's 11 days ago." So I'm starting to get slightly anxious in that it could be somebody that's lost stuff off of Portland Bill or Portland Point, wherever it was. More recently, aka yesterday, and so made some phone calls. We the BSA committee, Rich put out and I put out some stuff on social media, and within 10 minutes we'd found that it was actually just lost property from a diver that was diving the night before off Portland Bill, dove down, came back up, the gear was gone. And he sort of didn't think too much of it because a few years prior something similar had happened, and spoke to the Coast Guard and they said, no, we don't want to know. And so, yeah, the response that we had to that through social media and the WhatsApp groups was fantastic. And so I'd just like to say, a quick thank you and a well done to everybody that was involved with that. And what a great response from the community to try and find out whether it was a Spiro gone, and protecting us, protecting our divers. So well done, everybody. Round of applause to you. I think we're going to, as the BSA, we're going to try and put something together so that the communication channel's a little bit quicker. Again, just so that once we are aware that it's lost property as opposed to lost diver, we're able to inform the Coast Guard and the RNLI immediately to stop the
Yeah.
helicopters from spinning up and the boats from being pulled out of their holes. Because there was about 10 minutes where someone had been told that it was lost property, but we weren't aware of it, and Coast Guard weren't aware of it. So if you lose gear, if it's small, then if you lose a pair of Crocs, don't ring the fucking Coast Guard. But if you lose a full rib, if you lose a full set of gear that looks like there is a possibility that you could be lost, do ring the Coast Guard and say, look, I've just lost this rib. There is not a spear fisherman somewhere attached to the bottom. Just to stop the panic. Well, not necessarily panic, but to stop the concern is more than anything. So yeah.
Yeah, and then on the back of that, I had a message today from a guy who runs a company that does what they call contact patches. So it's a little patch, PVC patches attached to your buoys or your wetsuit. Comes with all the kit necessary to do so. And all it is just has your contact information on it and emergency contact info on it. And that's quite handy. They're quite cheap as well, to be fair. So that's quite a handy little thing to have when you float or your wetsuit, whatever. Just in the event of anything actually does go wrong, I suppose it's quite handy to have that, isn't it?
Yeah.
The website's www.contact-patch.com.
And you were saying that so there's like a version of that contact patch, which is basically your next of kin or your personal details, or identifiable details that you can actually put on your suit as well.
Yeah. So I mean, so it comes with a kit that you're able to then attach it to your suit or your float, for example, whatever. And then it's a great idea, just so that in that event, if anything actually does happen to you and they see your float, then at least they know who it is and whatever else. I mean, all right, might not going to do anything because you might be the bomb already, but it helps the process. And for the kind of money that it costs, I think they're like 10 quid. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, all I will advocate, and again, I'm not going to try and push this down anyone's throats, is the BSA. When you become a member of the BSA, whether you're a current existing membership member or a previous one, you get assigned a float number. Now, that float number is normally, it's used, or it was used for competitive spearfishing, but that float number identifies you as a British Spearfishing Association member. Again, whether you're current or previous. If you were to put that on all of your gear, even if you were to Tipex a little, set of those numbers on the back of your hood, so that when they do pull your body out, they're able to say, right, well, there's a number. We've got no other identifiable information of this extremely bloated body, but we've got a number on the back of their hood. They can then contact us, the BSA, and we can give them immediate details of next of kin, who they are. The same goes for things like floats. If you've got floats, if you've got little torpedo buoys, if you become a BSA member, even just for a year, and then don't ever become a BSA member again, your details and your next of kin's details will be saved with us, and we will be able to give the Coast Guard and the RNLI, who are in touch with us immediately, their details, your details. So yeah, if anything, just put something identifiable on it, because it will save a lot of hassle from if it's just lost property, but also it could save you and your family a lot of distress quite quickly. So yeah, do the right thing.
Sweet, boys. Nice. We'll meet up soon, and hopefully before the doors open.
Yeah. Well, we have not done very many podcasts this year, and we've got not many weeks left in the summer, so we will certainly be starting to drive some more podcasts out when it gets into October-y, wintry months. I've got a few people lined up from the freediving community, so
yeah, and I've got a couple of people lined up as well, so we've got a fair few guests to work through.
That'd be good.
But yeah, we'll try our best as always.
If you think you've got a good hour and a half to talk shit on the podcast and you want to come and talk shit with us, please reach out. We'd be more than happy to set something up in an evening. But yeah, love you all very much.
Sweet as boys. Catch you later.
Good night.